Guys, welcome to What If Naruto was Madara's reincarnation and the Jinchuriki of the Infinity Tales. So, first things first, if I go all the way over here, that's the Infinity Tales. Mangekyo, Eternal Mangekyo, the Rinnegekkyo, which is like that is the Rinnegekkyo, the Infinite Tail Beast Rinne Sharingan. This seal is essentially carved into his soul, which now contains the guy, Naruto's Scythe, Naruto's Gunbai, Quick Ability Scan, abilities. Those are his levels of different affinities, Genkai's, Dojutsu, the Biju Imptails Mangekyo ability, named Naminagi, makes the user unable to by making basically it makes the user unable basically if you skip past the buy and pretend it's a B because it decided it would auto change it, making things go through them, but they can hit you. But give me a moment, I'm fixing this. Back after some technical difficulties. Here it is. If I go over here, Naminagi makes the user unable to die by making things go through them, but they can hit you. We're not going to always refer to that thing. And then the Eternal Mangekyo has Koto Matsuyomi. Makes the opponent it's used on put in a unbreakable genjutsu where their real self is tortured in Tsukiyomi. I didn't mean to say Tsukiyomi. So in Tsukiyomi world, but their body is controlled by the user like a puppet without chakra strings. By that I mean no longer not having chakra strings, and they can control them fully. Naruto's Gunbai, he got from Madara, his Scythe, he got Naruto himself again, and you've already all seen the rest. Now let's get into it. We see as Naruto Uchiha Senju is born. He was the son of Senju Minato and Uchiha Kushina. I had a brain fart, but essentially I swapped up the name, like their stuff, and essentially Madara is like after the war. Like this is like he's the reincarnation of the Madara after the war arc when Madara was betrayed. So therefore, Madara changed personality, somewhat changed after that. So that's a similar personality, but also with different personality traits as well that Naruto has. Just for a quick explanation. So we see as the QB attacks, and then it sees Naruto, and it doesn't wish to be sealed away again, as it sees Naruto in Kushina's arms, thinking that he's gonna be the Jin. He attacks, but then Minato sends him the QB along with him inside of the Shinigami's stomach, and then Kushina dies from not having the QB anymore. But we see as a Uchiha with a Mangekyo, which may I add, his name is, I'm gonna say, since I'm not able to think of anything, I'll just fuse Chisu and Itachi's names and say Itachui, because I'm not bothering to think of a whole entire name. So Itachi Uchiha brings Naruto in. But Minato's last wish was that he would take care of it, as he is Minato's nephew, therefore making him Naruto's cousin. So we see as he goes to the Hokage with Naruto in hand and says, Naruto survived the QB attack. Minato took the QB with him to the Shinigami's stomach, and when Kushina died, they asked Minato asked me to take care of their kid and told me their name was Naruto and that he would go by Naruto Uchiha. As they say, okay, time skip. 4 years. Naruto is playing around in the house, and essentially we see as Itachi comes up to him and says, "Hey, little brother, do you want to train?" It's like I had a total brain fart. I keep having brain farts, but still, I'm gonna continue. He says, "Yeah, I want to train." So he decides to say, "You know what? Okay, in that case, it's time to train." We're gonna start off with a fireball jutsu. With fireball jutsu, as I already taught you the basics of wall walking and water walking, because I don't know why, but when I tried to show you the basics, you copied it practically instantly, and I don't understand how, and it will annoy me if I start trying to figure out how, he says. We see as they start training, as they go to Leggings, they use the fireball jutsu, as he says, okay. And if you remember, if you go over here, fire affinity, 10 out of 10, meaning that it's literally the highest fire affinity possible in that he can have. So what he says, as he used he says fireball jutsu after doing a few hand signs. And we see a fireball around 5 times the size of Itachi when he learned it. Fireball, because he has high chakra from being half Senju technically. As well as he has that extremely high fire affinity, making it cost less chakra. And since he has chakra control, he technically also is using less chakra, but also is empowering it with more chakra. So, on purpose. Therefore, making it absolutely gigantic. And it wasn't even a lot of chakra at that. Time skip. 3 years. A 7-year-old Naruto is now fighting Itachi. They're sparring. As they're sparring, they hear someone say, "Help me," as Itachi and him go to investigate. And Itachi gets poisoned, and he Shinsuins Naruto and him to the house and sets him down and pats his head and says everything's gonna be fine. And then he proceeds to fight them, and he gets poisoned. So in a last-ditch effort, he says the word Mangekyo Sharingan. And think of his Mangekyo like this. See all these little lines? Cut them off and add a little bit of area of black to where those little slithers of red are there, and then add the Tomoe. That's what his Mangekyo would look like. And he said towards one of them, Koto Matsuyomi. And he placed which was the strongest of the small group of ninjas that actually were attacked, that they tried to help. And where their real self is tortured. And he commanded the body, which is now a puppet, practically a puppet, and said, kill them. As he killed them, we see as he falls to one knee, he then proceeds to see his best friend, which we're just gonna say, actually no, he senses the Hokage and says what happened, and to take his eyes and give them to Naruto when he gains his Mangekyo, which in this AU, you have to at least be to the point where your base sight is constantly blurry in order for your Mangekyo to gain the eternal Mangekyo. Just so y'all know. As he says, okay, so then I'll do so. Also, again, if you see anyone who has claimed the picture, credit to them. As I do not know if I've said that before, or if I forgot to. But, wait, I forgot something. Back after a little bit of doing stuff. Basically, that happens, and when the message gets to Naruto, and he hears of the death of his brother, what he says, he instantly screams out in pain. And as he screams out of pain, they see one Tomoe and then two Tomoes form in both eyes. He now has awakened his two Tomoe Sharingan, as well as then we see this beast open a single eye, saying, "I feel rage from my host, but not hatred, just anger and rage, but also immense sadness," he says. As then we go back to Naruto, who just fell asleep crying on the bed which he laid on while waiting, which he got the letter from a hawk which came in, just so y'all know. And we see as he says, "You know what? I'm gonna start training. Time skip 1 year." He is now 8, and he has been training to the brink of death and beyond. And the Infinity Tails has been having to supply him with a QB. It's literally so bad to the point where it would have to have the regeneration of all 9 Baijus put together. That's how hard he trained. And the Infinity Tails gave him that regeneration, just over time, so he could survive. And now he's now at the age of 8. His physical body is equivalent to a mid special jonin, meaning, and I believe that special jonin are just a rank below normal jonin. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's like they're not fully at the power level of jonin yet. Like, he's mid special jonin, not low, but not high on it. High special jonin either. He has also, through this grueling training, gained the 3 Tomoe Sharingan. As we see as we now see as a person as he goes to Hiruzen and says, "I would like to join Ambu." As he says, "Are you sure? You at least have to be a low special jonin level by the end of this. Is when you'll be at." Okay. "I'm fine with grueling training," he says. "Okay." As we see, as he just finished the main exam and now he has to train. And may I add, he broke all the records by about double, because none of them were special jounin level, as far as I know, before becoming an Ambu. And they trained him, and he says, "Patui, if this is what I would say if this were a taste, because this is nothing close to grueling training, he says, as he goes off and starts training until the brink of death and beyond for hours and hours, every second, every time they can getting healed. Time skip. He has made friends with. He is currently an Ambu with. Also, just so you know, I'm presuming this is a wolf, so I'm gonna say that his mask is that of a wolf. He has made friends with a Ambu in a tiger mask. And now we see that them fighting on a mission. The last two of their squad. The rest he wasn't really attached to. As they see the tiger mask go down, his Mangekyo doesn't awaken, but it flashes on. And in a fit of rage, when his Mangekyo, he activates. Give me a moment, guys. A fit of rage, he says the name of his Mangekyo ability. He says Naminagi in an angry tone. As they all try and attack him, and it does nothing. As he cuts through them all. As their reinforcements came, and there was an army of 10,000 shinobi. As he used Naminagi for a few hours, and he lost constantly for a few hours, causing him to lose 25% of his vision. But it wasn't enough to the point where it would fully affect his Sharingan. But and then he simply up and faints. An Ambu patrol from the leave to check up on them, as it's been a day or so, came by and saw him knocked out unconscious, with his eyes bleeding severely, with dry blood on them. They took him in, and they say, and the Hokage predicts what happened after seeing him. He says, my prediction is he either flashed the Mangekyo and in a fit of rage used his Mangekyo ability to such an extent that this happened, which, seen from the amount of blood and how his eyes look right now, I can tell that 25% of his vision is gone, which is halfway, without even fully awakening the Mangekyo, if it was just a flash and in a fit of rage, as I saw his best friend Tiger dead on the ground. It most likely was a flash, though, because because his eyes, while they're powerful, his body isn't ready yet to wield his Mangekyo ability, if that was only a flash. We see as with his Sharingan, it's slightly worse. And at 50%, by the way, is basically what I'm gonna say is when the Sharingan seems like normal. Seems like normal sight for perspective, at around 40%. So it's basically constantly slightly blurry, which is when you want to implant eyes. As we see him wake up, as he says, what happened? I think you might have flashed the Mangekyo Sharingan. He says, what's that? It's something that your brother had, that the one you consider as an elder brother had. It grants a specialized ability, and I'm guessing in a bit of rage you used yours, and it must have actually caused your eyes to bleed severely from how powerful it was, and your body not being ready for it. As he says, okay, back to training. And he says, not. As then they see he's fully healed by the Infinity Tails. As while he was knocked out, he was talking with the Infinity Tails. Flashback. Who are you? I am the Infinity Tails. I am the embodiment of all life energy and death energy and everything in between. I am quite literally the embodiment. I am quite literally the creator of this reality. That says, there's a seal engraved in your very soul, which contains me. You just went into a fit of rage with your Mangekyo ability. This Mangekyo ability is Naminagi, the ultimate Mangekyo, one of the strongest Mangekyo abilities ever created. That and that one and the Kodo Matsuyomi are the two strongest genjutsus that I know of ever created because of how powerful and how they work. However, they're extremely powerful and borderline can be unstoppable and well, yes, it does have a pull on chakra. As you're a Senju and Uchiha, you have immense chakra for your age, which is why you were able to hold up this Mangekyo ability for with the span of 30 minutes, which is all it took for your whole to kill 1,000 people in 30 minutes. And may I add, that's with a newly awakened one that you don't know how to fully use yet. And because it was in a fit of rage, it wasn't even at its fullest power. Because what most people don't know is that Mangekyo abilities that actually have a physical trait can actually give a small and have multiply their physical body's power by roughly 50%. Also, that's just something about this version of the Naruto universe, just so y'all know. And since you had it, your body, however, since it was in a blind rage, it didn't really work. Meaning it's not even at its fullest power that it could be at, that your body could be at that time. He says, okay, it's time. I guess it's time to train. As he trains, he asks, why is there like a blur in the side of my eyes whenever I move? Whenever my head moves. That's from your Mangekyo. You lost 25% of your eyesight. And I know that you were training in here. All it's gonna do is just... while it will work, it's not... It's only meant for muscle memory. It doesn't work with your actual physical body. Also, just so y'all know, I'm sorry if it keeps turning. I'm constantly walking around. And we now see as he wakes up and we end a flashback. And now... And he says, old man, what happened? And why is there a blur at the side of my vision? And he says, and that's where I'm going to end it, as I feel that this is a good point to stop it at. Bye, guys.